Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Hyperactive Conservative. I'm John Gale. It is a Monday edition, May 4th, 2020. Glad that you are here watching today as we get in right into the news right away today. Excited to have you be a part. You can watch us now on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Just simply search for the Hyperactive Conservative. We've got our own channel on YouTube as well. And as we wait for some folks to tune in, just want to remind everyone to like, share, and follow. It's a very simple thing to do. Give us the thumbs up. Good morning, Anita Dakin Cheatham. Thank you for joining in this morning. I hope you had a great weekend. What a beautiful day it is here in southwestern Ohio right now. I hope it's a nice day where you are at as well. We've got some funny coronavirus memes for you today. It's what's up next on the Hyperactive Conservative. Yeah, baby. Crazy corona news, and that's what it seems to all be about right now. The crazy news, isn't it? It's just tons of crazy news every single day. You just can't stay away from it. I've got a funny meme about air filters. Watch this. People are running around wearing masks, and their house filters look like this. Ain't that the truth? I'll tell you what. I don't know when the last time we cleaned our filter was, but I'm sure it needs to be changed. Actually, we're pretty on top of that. I must say, we like to keep, because we have some allergy issues in the household. So it's probably time to change. Probably time to change the filter as well. I love this meme, and it goes back to big government and what all that entails about the Indians. Turn in your weapons. The government will take care of you. And that's sort of what we're doing right now, giving up a lot of our personal rights during the corona for our own safety. We're giving up our American rights, really, to the what is it? The pursuit of happiness. I mean, that right there, one of the rights. Then take a look at this one, Lady Liberty. Less than 1% in the United States have died. It only took a virus with a 99% survival rate to convince Americans to give up their rights. Sad but true. It only took a virus with a 99% survival rate to convince Americans to give up their rights. And that's what's happened. It's a snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Make sure you invite your friends. Anita, tell everyone that you know to join in to the Hyperactive Conservative and do a little watch party. That might be fun. I've never done a watch party except for church. So, you know what? I'm going to share that right now. I'm going to do my own little watch party. Share alike. I'm going to share it to my personal page. Share on my timeline. Come join us. For today's Hyperactive Conservative live now. Boom. All right, let's share. We're going to post. Start a little watch party. Yeah, baby. That's how it works. Excited. All right. Well, we've got some interesting news for you coming up today. Some information about the proof that the coronavirus was linked to a Chinese lab. It's breaking news on the Hyperactive Conservative. And we got a cool little set here for you now. This is kind of neat. Look at this. Pretty neat little new. I wanted to make the screen bigger to be able to, for you guys to be able to see the screen a little bit. So I thought that was kind of neat. I just got to stay right in this little box right here. Well, Pompeo has tied the coronavirus to a Chinese lab. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Sunday backed President Trump's assertion that the coronavirus originated in a research laboratory in Wuhan, China, through the nation's intelligence agencies. They say that they have reached no conclusion yet on the issue. Speaking on the ABC program This Week, Mr. Pompeo, the former CIA chief and one of the senior administration officers who is most hawkish on dealing with China, said that there's enormous evidence that the coronavirus came from the lab, though he agreed with the intelligence assessment that there was no indication that the virus was man-made or genetically modified. Well, what does that matter? It was in a lab and it escaped, whether it was man-made or not. Whose responsibility is that? Pompeo repeatedly accused the Chinese Communist Party, led by President Xi, of covering up evidence and denying Americans expert access to the research lab, the Wuhan Institute of Virology. We've seen the fact that they kicked the journalist out, Mr. Pompeo said, referring to orders that American correspondents from the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal leave China. We saw the fact that those who were trying to report on this medical condition inside of China, they were silenced. They shut down reporting and all kinds of things that authoritarian regimes do, the way communist parties operate. So the word is still out as to whether or not the virus was man-made or not, but there's mounting proof that the virus did come from a lab in Wuhan, China. Interesting. Meanwhile, some good news from Italy. Italy was spending its last day in total lockdown yesterday, but the partial easing of strict coronavirus measures after a 2-month shutdown was causing anxiety and confusion rather than elation across the country. Attempts to make plans for the first day of freedom were hampered by uncertainty over the rules. The government has a list of permitted activities, but regions are also making up their own regulations. I'm hoping this morning's paper will clear it up. I want to take my old mum to the seaside. Can I? Asked 53-year-old cleaner Pietro Garlinti as he queued patiently in the sun at a kiosk at the capital's historic center. In this first stage, Italy's 60 million inhabitants will be able to move more freely within their own regions, visiting relatives, going to reopen parks with their children, and cycling or running further from home. That's good news, very good news for Italy. And what does it say? It says that things are getting better, and that's a good sign for the entire world, not just Italy. Meanwhile, today, The Guardian is reporting an antibody study suggests that the coronavirus may be far more widespread than previous thoughts. The study finds that 50 to 85 times as many infections as known cases, meaning a lower fatality rate, a far lower fatality rate. A new study in California has found the number of people infected with the coronavirus may be tens of times higher than previously thought. The study from Stanford University, which was released on Friday, has yet to be peer-reviewed. Test samples from 3,330 people in Santa Clara County and found that the virus was 50 to 85 times more common than official figures indicated. At the time of the study, Santa Clara County had 1,094 confirmed cases of COVID-19, resulting in 50 deaths, but based on the rate of participants who have antibodies and study estimates, it is likely that between 48,000 and 81,000 people have been infected in Santa Clara County by early April. This means that the coronavirus is potentially much less deadly to the overall population than initially thought. And as of Tuesday, the U.S. coronavirus death rate was 4.1%, and Stanford University said that their findings show a death rate of just 0.12%. We've been saying that all along. I've been saying 0.19%, and this report says it's between 0.12% and 0.2%, which is right there, 0.19%. So it's much lower, much lower than what we've thought, the fatality rate. It's interpreted by some to mean we are closer to herd immunity, that fantastic little word that reminds me of cattle. The concept that if enough people in a population have developed antibodies to a disease, that population becomes immune. This would allow some to get more quickly back to work, a strategy currently being deployed across the world today. Good news. More good news. I like good news. This is not so good news. Not such good news from the Blaze today. The Orange County District Attorney's Office warned residents that 7 high-risk sex offenders have been released months early as a part of the efforts in California to slow the spread of the coronavirus in jail. These kinds of high-risk sex offenders are the most dangerous of all criminals and are most likely to reoffend, Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer said in a press release. They're doing everything they can to avoid detection by the parole officers assigned to monitor them so they can potentially commit additional sex offenses. These are not the kind of people who should be getting a break. The sex offenders convicted of crimes ranging from decent exposure to sexual battery to child molestation were released beginning April 7th, many of them spending just days behind bars instead of the 6 months required by law for registered sex offenders who violate parole by removing or disabling GPS monitors. It is not the court's responsibility to control the jail population by releasing these dangerous criminals back into our communities, Spitzer said. The residents of Orange County deserve to have the peace of mind that registered sex offenders are being held accountable and not just let out of the front door of jail by a court commissioner who refuses to follow the law. Sheriff Don Barnes reported to the Orange County Board of Supervisors Wednesday that county jail population has been reduced by nearly 45% since March 7th, and there is no overcrowding issues. Barnes assured that proper steps, including social distancing, masks, and quarantining of new inmates, are in place. Well, you've released 45% of the population into the public again. Crazy news. Hey, Barb Trenham, thanks for tuning in. Glad you're with us today on the Hyperactive Conservative. Moving on to news about Nikki Haley. I just love Nikki Haley. She's amazing. She tweeted over the weekend, "There is much to unpack with the new information on General Flynn. The most upsetting is how calculated it was. Letting General Flynn off is not enough. People need to pay for this." Totally agree with that. The FBI needs to answer to how the public can have confidence that will never happen again. This is shameful. She's speaking of the report that was released on Twitter last week, saying that documents were unsealed, including handwritten notes from January 2017, the day of Flynn's FBI interview, a transcript which said, "What is our goal, truth/admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him and get him fired?" Crazy. The FBI needs to be held accountable, and personally, I believe that Jim Comey needs to be in prison. Moving on to Fox News, this information about Osama bin Laden, he wanted to kill Obama, so totally unprepared Joe Biden would be the president. Declassified documents now show. He wanted to assassinate the then President Barack Obama so that the totally unprepared, quotes, Joe Biden would take over as president and plunge the United States into a crisis, according to documents seized from bin Laden's Pakistan compound when he was killed in May of 2011. The secret documents, first reported in 2012 by the Washington Post, outlined a plan to take out Obama and top U.S. military commander David Petraeus as they traveled by plane. The reason for concentrating on them is that Obama is the head of infidelity, and killing him automatically will make Vice President Biden take over the presidency, bin Laden wrote to a top deputy back then. Biden is totally unprepared for that post, bin Laden said, which will lead the U.S. into a crisis. As for Petraeus, He is the man of the hour, and killing him would alter the world's path in Afghanistan. Bin Laden specifically wanted fellow terrorists to shoot down Obama. Please ask Brother Elias to send me the steps he has taken into that work, Bin Laden wrote to a top lieutenant. The lieutenant wrote, wouldn't get far along in the plot. However, he was killed in 2011 in a U.S. drone strike shortly after Bin Laden himself was shot to death by Navy SEALs. So now the Democratic presidential nominee, or potential nominee, Joe Biden, Osama bin Laden wanted to kill Obama so Joe Biden would become the president and would throw the United States into chaos, in his own words. Osama was a little smarter than what we thought. Another report from Fox News today saying former advisor David Axelrod said over the weekend that the sexual allegations leveled against Joe Biden did not come up in a 2008 vetting campaign from the Obama party. They were vetting for an eventual vice presidential pick, and nothing came up about Tara Reade. Axelrod, who was the chief strategist for the campaign and later a White House senior advisor to former President Barack Obama, said that Biden was carefully vetted before being announced as Obama's running mate and that nothing had surfaced to cause concern. Really? I mean, there's plenty of videos with Joe sniffing all these little girls' hairs and saying kind of rude and disgusting things. I guess what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander here. You know, what they went after Kavanaugh for, where are all the women against sexual predators in defense of Tara Reade? I have a question. Where are they? Dave Rubin is reporting that California leaders, their stay-at-home orders are going to break people at some point. Author and YouTube host Dave Rubin said on Fox and Friends on Monday that liberal California leaders seem eager to exercise their power by closing beaches in an attempt to slow down the spread of coronavirus. Just because they have that power to do so doesn't mean they should, said Rubin, arguing that people should be allowed to enjoy the state's beaches while practicing social distancing and taking reasonable precautions. I totally agree. How stupid do these liberals think that Americans are? You know, you've given us the information that we need to know. You should wear a mask. You should stay 6 feet apart. Well, I think we can handle it from here, guys. They don't really explain why they are doing it. So you may have seen the video of Deputy Mayor of Los Angeles in a helicopter. He is shown flying over a completely empty beach. And he was almost mocking it, saying that he treated it as some sort of proud reaction to what he did. It's like, this is really a recipe for a disaster in a state like this, he continued. California Governor Gavin Newsom ordered Orange County beaches closed to help slow the spread of the virus, prompting hundreds of protesters to flood the city of Huntington Beach on Saturday to demonstrate against the action, holding signs with slogans such as "Open California Now," "All jobs are essential," "Surfing's not a crime," "Newsom is a kook" was another great sign. As they took to the streets, the protesters, many without face masks and not practicing social distancing, backed up traffic along the Pacific Coast Highway for at least a mile. A lot of protests going on. Lots and lots of protests. Hey, Terry Shope, thanks for tuning in today. Politico has a report about Mike DeWine, our governor here in Ohio. DeWine said on Sunday that his order requiring state residents to wear face masks went too far. Oh, imagine that. DeWine announced April 27th that face masks must be worn in stores, but after some Ohioans found the order offensive, he reversed himself the next day. Quit listening to Dr. Acton, Mike, and make up your own mind, why don't you? It became clear to me that this was just a bridge too far. People were not going to accept the government telling them what to do. What a wiffle waffle kind of guy. Is wiffle waffle a word exactly? But Mike definitely is that. Round heels. DeWine said Getting hung up on the mandatory masks just wasn't going to work. Though he highly recommends wearing them, employees will still wear face masks, and DeWine urged customers to protect the folks who are stocking shelves in grocery stores. Well, that's fine, but everywhere I go, all of the workers at the stores, they're not wearing any masks at all. On Monday, the state's manufacturing and construction businesses will reopen today following his order last week, joined by retail stores on May 11th. I'm just excited because Bill's Donuts is open, and that's good news. Moving on to Newsweek today, talking about people protesting. Governor Cuomo told the people of New York he slammed those gathering to protest the coronavirus lockdown measures without masks, telling them that they had no right to put others at risk. Well, how are they putting them at risk, Governor Cuomo, if those people are staying home? If they're doing what they're supposed to do, what does it matter that there are protests at the Capitol building? How is that putting them at risk, Governor Cuomo? He says he understands that people are frustrated with the economy not being open. I get it. I want to see the economy open for myself, for my family, he said. Right. I'm not going to put dollar signs over human lives. I'm not going to do that. Not for my family, not for yours. But I understand their point of view, and I understand the First Amendment. You have an argument. You're going to make your argument. God bless America. He's such a pompous, arrogant guy. Cuomo then lashed out at those who were gathering at rallies without a mask covering their faces, calling them reckless and irresponsible. You don't have a right to jeopardize my health. Well, Governor Cuomo, are you standing out there? You want to jeopardize your health, God bless you. You have no right to jeopardize my health, he said. Funny how he says God bless you when he needs to say it, but then he doesn't let God take any of the credit for the decrease in infections and deaths in New York City. Remember, Franklin Graham got on him, telling Cuomo, don't leave God out of the equation, Governor Cuomo. But now he's saying, God bless you, just as a patronizing remark. The mask is not about your health. The mask is about my health and my children's health and your children's health. And that's why you have to wear a mask. It's not about your life. It's about other people's lives. Here in Ohio, Acton just said, you didn't need to wear a mask if you're healthy. The masks, pretty much, guys, they're pretty useless unless you are sick. If you are sick, you shouldn't be out and about. If you're COVID-19 positive anyway, you shouldn't be out and about coughing and sneezing on anybody. That's the only way that a mask would protect other people, was from your infected droplets shooting out of your mouth. But if you're healthy, wearing a mask is not going to prevent the virus from coming through that mask and entering your body. It's just not going to. But the statistics, guys, are so low now. They're saying 50 to 85% may have already been infected with COVID-19, which means that the fatality rate is so much lower. NBC News saying stay-at-home protests have been held across the country. I love this. Surfing's not a crime. Newsom is a kook. On a surfboard there in California. Residents of suburban St. Louis nursing home is believed to be one of the oldest to survive the coronavirus. And I don't believe I've got the right story up about this, but we'll tell it anyway. Here, let me just take this off for just a second and share this with you. Rudy Hyder had 2 reasons to celebrate. He's 107 years old and he beat COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus. Relatives couldn't come into his room at the Friendship Village in Chesterfield, Missouri, but they gathered outside his window while Hyder enjoyed a slice of his favorite dessert, lemon meringue pie. Come on now, lemon meringue pie. I love me a nice meringue. Hyder said he looked forward to being able to be with family and friends again. Hyder's granddaughter, Janet Hyder of Seattle, called her grandfather amazing. She said, I had to tell him that he's lived through the Spanish flu, 2 world wars, a stroke at 100 years old, and a fractured vertebrae at 104 years old, so that he would not lose to COVID-19, and he ended up beating it. Hyder turning 107 years old over the weekend. Happy birthday to you, brother. That is an amazing Amazing accomplishment. Wow. Moving on to the New York Times, or the New York Post, rather. You're going to dig this video. It is amazing. A visual journalist, Matt McKnight, got caught up in a tumbleweed tornado on a drive near Richland, Washington. Let me bring this up for you here. Take a look at this video. Those are tumbleweeds, gang. Ow! Woo. Holy macaronis. He managed to capture the amazing footage on video. Let's watch it again. That is just intense. I mean, those things cannot be light, you know? They're hitting the car. Watch this. Thank goodness they weren't rocks. Just amazing footage out of Richland, Washington. Craziness. Finally, we reported on Madonna last week, and I kind of gave her a hard time, I have to say, although I believe she's insane. You know, Madonna, she broke social distancing rules. She attended a photographer's birthday party over the weekend and then gave him hugs and presented him with a COVID-19 cake just days after revealing her antibody results. And I think I have footage of this. Let's watch it. It's kind of very strange, but some strange transvestite is eating a piece of cake, offering it. You can just see she's not 6 feet apart. She's hugging and talking with people at a party. Here she is, a picture of her hugging the birthday boy, Stephen Klein. But the point that I made last week about, you know, that she should be quarantined, well, listen to this. Her antibody tests. She recently caused controversy over comments about the deadly virus when she called it the Great Equalizer. Well, that's Madonna. While being filmed in a marble bathtub surrounded by rose petals. Speaking pensively about the ongoing pandemic while instrumental music played in the background, Madonna said, "That's the thing about COVID-19. It doesn't care about how rich you are, how famous you are, how funny you are." That's true. The singer appeared to be claiming that following a test, it has proven that her immune system has already seen the coronavirus, though it is unclear if she had suffered any symptoms. Okay, so when you take a test, you test positive. Well, you could test positive and then, you know, clear the virus. She evidently came into contact with it at some time early, and she just tested positive for it. So should we keep those people really in quarantine after that test? I don't believe so. There are many people. What about the people who have now tested positive? They've healed up. They're out of quarantine, out of the hospital. They've gone home. They probably still test positive for the antibody, but they are no longer carriers of the disease, supposedly. I guess the information just pretty much is unclear at the moment. And we need to get tight. We need to really find out what's going on with all of these antibody tests and how they work exactly. That's the Daily Mail report on Madonna. And that's going to be it for today's edition of the Hyperactive Conservative. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in today. Make sure that you share and like and follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe to us, real simple, and you'll get daily notifications every single time that we go live on YouTube. All you got to do is search for the Hyperactive Conservative and subscribe. Hit that red subscribe button. For those of you who are on Facebook, it's real simple. Just hit that follow button and you'll receive notifications when we load up our next video as well. Like and share today. Until next time, you guys be safe, take care, wash your hands, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time for the Hyperactive Conservative. Take a great walk today and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.